should.
Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
Yay, great. Okay, yeah. Hello. um, oh, just few things I have to do here. So. So, how are you?
I am very well. I'm doing well here. How are you?
I'm fine too. Yeah, yeah. You. So this, I want to know about this opera.
So, Sleep is a short opera right now. I have plans to make it longer. My really wonderful friend Cleo M wrote the libretto, and she is also a composer, performer, amazing vocalist. We did a couple of recitals together here in the Netherlands and in Vienna, where she lives. And she has this fantastic project called Fleurs Rejetées, which means rejected flowers, where she programs pieces that have been rejected from other competitions and opportunities and stuff like that. And so she is also an incredible writer, and she has this giant novel, um, which is such a wonderful example of speculative fiction. And she has these short stories. So she showed me some of her short stories, and I came across Sleep and thought that that would work really well for an opera. So she wrote the libretto, and we had these that short opera workshopped in Montreal for this group called Chant Libre, like free songs. And so the excerpt that you'll see that you'll play later is from that workshop.
Super cool. Yay. Yeah, I think we can wait. It's Sunday morning, so it's kind of not the perfect time. Yeah, I couldn't do the I couldn't do the evening time because I don't know. I don't want to make you wake up at like 3 a.m. in the morning.
That's fine. I don't mind. I'll
So
probably be up anyway.
yeah,
But yeah, people are probably at church as well.
right. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
think too. But yeah, there. But yeah, I think we can give probably 2 more minutes.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Be here and yeah, or maybe I'm sure some people still in bed,
Yeah, I think so.
right? Yeah. Um. Cool.
But will you keep this online?
Um. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, people can watch it later.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's this replay of um live events, so
Oh,
you can always rewatch, replay.
that's good.
Yeah. So it will be on my channel. So
Perfect.
yeah, yeah, they can watch it again and yeah.
All right.
Um. Okay. Um, yeah, let's see. Um, we can wait for one more minute. um, uh, also, there are a lot of things. Splice Festival. It's still, was it closed yesterday? It could have been. I think yesterday actually was the last day I missed, but I made one of the concerts Friday, and
Yeah.
missed. But yeah, it was yesterday, and um, there's just so many things happening every.
There's so much going on in October, even just from projects with my works. There have been so many to keep up with, and
Right.
it's really nice. I'm grateful for everything, but it's also really difficult to give attention to everything, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And if it's difficult for me, then it's difficult for everybody else too, because they have friends who are musicians and artists, you know. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's also nice to see that there is so much activity and that there are things to do online and in real life. I know that in Europe things are a little bit better in terms of concerts in real life.
Yeah.
So I'll have a concert in Hanover on November 7th and then in Berlin on November 27th. And it's going to be strange going to a concert in real life, but
I mean, would there be audience or yes?
yeah,
Yeah, but limited number.
exactly. With social distancing and masks and everything.
Yeah. Oh. uh, yeah.
That's what it is. This
Yeah.
is the new normal.
It's yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think we can start, and yeah, I have your website in the background, but
Okay.
um, let's just go normal view. And well, thank you for being part of this project and speaking to me and the audience in the chat.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for commissioning me for this wonderful, wonderful concert.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was so much fun. And that I am still very limited, like everyone else is, that there are just few places that I go other than staying home, that I have to go to school and teach. Um, Still, I cannot play with other people. I cannot play chamber music in person. And of course, in the summer, it was the same, except that I didn't go to school to teach. I was home all the time, and
Yeah.
um, I really missed interacting in person with people and playing with other people. So um, this was kind of also idea of um, doing it all by yourself, kind of uh, that. So I want to start this with sharing. Wrong, Wrong, Wrong by Gogang. That's a cool, really cool piece. That was really shocking experience for me.
Okay.
In the when was it, it's a few years ago, right? I mean, it's quite old piece by now, right?
I
Yeah,
think so, yeah.
watched it like some time ago, and it was really shocking. But um, I kind of thought of that piece, although my project is not exactly about it, but it was more like, oh, how much I can do by myself,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So yeah, I think it will be kind of fun. It will be fun to um, watch her performance.
Definitely.
So let me share the screen.
Okay, go ahead.
And ooh, can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back. And so. Okay, I think we also have to listen to your piece. So always thought there's something, of course, um about playful, that you have all this object and you were playing. Um, Also, there's aloneness, that she actually had this album with this piece and called herself alone. I don't remember exact title, but I think there's that being kind of alone, and that's how what we felt, I think, and what we are feeling right now. Although yes, that we have all these interactions online.
Yeah.
So
I think performers are especially feeling alone and isolated, at least performers who are very much so accustomed to playing with other people and playing with their string quartets and their brass quintets and their large ensembles, their community ensembles, their choirs, right? Performers and amateur musicians are right now, I think, amongst the musicians who are feeling this period particularly harshly. Um, for composers, I hate to say it, but many of us have said, "Oh yeah, not much has changed." You know, like we're just still in our houses, at our computers, at our instruments, with our papers and our 80,000 pencils and pens, writing on a piece of paper and creating PDFs and sending to the world. So for some of us, it's been actually a little bit of a relief because we don't have to leave the house.
interesting, yeah. That's a different perspective.
Yeah, composers are always the weird people of the musicians. So
Well, you were also a performer, and you play with other people.
definitely. And that has been hard, especially knowing how many of my performances were canceled when everything started to come together in a really big way in March. I had planned on traveling to Cleveland for the Cleveland Uncommon Sound Project Festival and performing there. I had a portrait concert in Minneapolis for the 113 New Music Festival in St. Paul. Um, canceled. I had planned to do a solo concert in Amsterdam, a part of a festival here in Eiburg. Canceled. Planned on giving a performance in Thailand. Canceled. So in that way, of course, my performer personality was affected quite deeply. And hopefully some of those performances will happen in the future. The Thailand performance is now moved online, so I'll be creating a piece for that. And because so much stuff has turned online, I've been invited to create digital pieces for those organizations and ensembles as well. So that's why I did this online thing for Chamber Queer in New York and for New Gallery Concert Series in Boston. So oddly enough, where some opportunities go away, other opportunities arise. So it's been wonderful actually experiencing this ebb and flow of projects moving away and then moving online.
True. Yeah. Well, I you have this new opera, which I'm really excited to hear about and hear. I had oddly, I mean, I think it was actually pandemic that connected me to this person. You probably know soprano Jamie Jordan. That I didn't. I knew of her, but um, I met her once briefly. But somehow this pandemic made us start conversation. um, and she mentioned that I think probably she performed one of your work at Eastman. Um, that was probably a really long time ago, and she told me how much she enjoyed, and she told me that I should check out your vocal pieces. So I'm so glad to check that out.
Yeah, yeah. I have quite a number of voice or pieces including voice. And this opera, Sleep, is definitely one of them that explores this sci-fi story written by my wonderful friend Cleo M. And some of my vocal works are extremely experimental, and they include extended vocal techniques such as ingressive singing and multiphonics and accessing different areas of the mouth and the throat and trying as much as possible to control those different areas individually while making one continuous sound. So yeah, I love vocal stuff and I love writing for the voice because it's such an intimate instrument. You know, we as vocalists take our instrument wherever we go. and and of course the voice is also just the medium that we use to communicate. Um, of course, those of us who can communicate with our voice, we use our voice to communicate. So there's just such a history of symbolism regarding the voice and vocal performance. So I try to tap into that history as well when I'm composing for the voice.
Great. Yeah, super exciting. Yeah, we can listen to the piece.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh, let me see.
Yes, and for all of the composers out there, this video has some of the score, so you can follow along with the score. And I think towards the end, there's a little video excerpt from the performance in Montreal.
Okay. Can you see it, or it's
Yeah,
not?
I can see it.
You can see the
Yes.
doing something wrong.
No, no, you're fine. Just go ahead and full screen it.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. Yes.
I watched you as you observed me in your sleeplessness all night. You see that my muscles are more toned. My heart beats more evenly. I watched you as you observed me in your sleeplessness all night. You see that my muscles are you're slated to replace you. We both know it. The situation gives me great pain, but it could not be helped. At first you resisted, like nearly everyone else. You should have fought them when you had the chance, but because you didn't resist until the end, something has to happen, and it will not be good. My eyes are even bigger than yours. My skin is a richer brown. My hair a deeper black. My mouth wraps itself around words more easily, as my fingers do around objects. Both move tremendously fast. The neurons in my brain interconnect far more densely, so that the network they form outstrips your own. My eyes may not have 20/20 vision, but they can see visions. My eyes may not have 20/20 vision, but they can see visions. I look a lot like you, but there's something off about the way your physique imitates mine. Your vocabulary is stunning, I'll give you that, but mine is more apt. The neurons in my brain make spontaneous and organic connections. My brain is more flexible than either of us can imagine. The ones who shock me are those who do not resist, who go along with the impositions. The ones who shock me are those who do not resist, who go along with the choice to leave. At least I try.
There you go.
Really, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can we know synopsis a little about the story?
Yeah, definitely. So the opera takes place in the future in a place called New Canada. And in this setting, there is always this process where a human and the clone, the robot clone of that human, compete. And whoever wins ends up taking the place of the either the robot will take the place of the human or the human will remain in society. So this scene happens the night before the competition, and the human is basically saying, well, the robot is saying, "I'm sorry, I'm going to beat you," and then the human says, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to kill you." And yeah, that's the scene.
Oh, so cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's really beautiful, and there um a lot of also I love the piano parts.
Oh, of course.
Yes, yeah. Um but there I'm sure that you have a lot to say about this word and music, which is also a little bit about I'm going mad libs.
Yes, definitely. Well, the words here for this opera, of course, came from Cleo and her wonderful story. And with her mind of sci-fi, she always creates these incredible situations. And this particular one really attracted me because of how much I believe this could possibly happen in real life in the future. We are constantly exposed to stories such as The Matrix, right, where this society of, or this uh, battery of robots um, and technical organisms end up slowly and little by little invading the consciousness of humanity, to the point where humans become a power source for the robots, right? And and in the Matrix, there are some renegade humans who end up in this subterranean society and somehow fight their way back to the top. And in Cleo's story, there is something similar going on, right? There's this hierarchy of a robotic um, society that has somehow infiltrated everyday life for humans, to a point where humans can't even tell the difference between a human and a robot. Um, we haven't, we may not have come across stuff like that right now in 2020, but you do read of things like preserving people's thoughts and brains and speech patterns in such a way that that if somebody dies, they can upload all of that information into a robot, and then that robot can sort of act like that dead person after that person is dead. That's really strange, right? And then, of course, we read about the sophistication of just facial recognition technology, how within the course of what, 2 or 3 years, even Facebook, for example, went from being able to identify a few colors to being able to recognize when you're tagged in a picture. Right? And it doesn't matter if my face is this way or my face is that way, or like if somebody posts a picture and they think I'm in that picture, they can say, I think you're tagged in this picture. And that's quite scary. So honestly, this type of situation that Cleo made, I really don't see it as anything out of the ordinary. It's definitely something that can happen, at least I think, within the next 15 to 20 years, which is really scary.
It is scary. It gives us something to, I guess, something to think about or something to do. Like, what can we do when the technology really overwhelms? Yeah,
Exactly. What can we do?
right. What can we do other than? I mean, it's competing. I think that's probably the word. Other than competing with it, and I heard about that a lot of jobs for human beings are actually demising because of that, because it could be replaced by the technology or by the robots, and it,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's a really good point to make because um, I'm not going to say the name of the author just yet, and I may not even say the name of the author in this video, but there is a book out there that basically says we as humans should be working to make our lives easier. So when things like automation happens, which can have one robot um, do the work of 10,000 human beings, instead of one person benefiting from all of that labor, we should flip it and use that robot to reduce costs of products and reduce costs of travel and reduce the cost of living so that more and more people can have homes, can have the option of going on vacation, easier travel, right? Better infrastructure. We can reduce the price of healthcare because we can have more and more robots doing things for us like surgeries, cosmetic surgeries, diagnosis, whatever. So, but that's not how humans are working today. Whenever one human makes something that makes life easier, it's usually that one human that gets all of the money. And this is why, for instance, Jeff Bezos at one point during this pandemic made $36 billion in one day, right? Like, it's ridiculous. And we have to laugh to keep from crying. Um, so, yeah, and there is a book out there. It was written a long, long time ago, and the person who wrote that book gets quite a bit of flack for being a certain type of person because a group of people have usurped the ideas of this person and transformed it into something rather nefarious, unfortunately. But the person who wrote this book did not mean to advocate for the way things are today. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, once I heard in the radio that how actually that orchestra could be generated by, robots and um, possibly artificial intelligence, and that they may make, sound even better than human orchestra, and they may be more musical than, so I mean,
I, I'm not sure about that. Well, here's the thing. And this is $1 million idea for anybody who's watching this and wants to take it, whatever. Just know that I'm saying this and you're hearing it. But so far, there there is something about humans that we haven't explored in a live project setting as much as I think we could have. And this is our sense of smell, right? So I have been thinking quite a bit about how to use scent in performances. I've just never done it. I've never really had the opportunity to work on it enough for me to incorporate in the performances that I've done in the past. Um, I did reach out to one of my friends who a while ago was working for this perfume company, and she was heavily involved in the theory of scents and creating very unique scents for people. And I just thought this was a fascinating thing, and we should for instance, have concerts where we have scratch and sniff cards. So you're listening to Mahler and you're smelling this fragrance from a scratch and sniff card, or you're listening to a piece by I don't know, Tanya Razwa Tawengwa, and she is spraying some sort of mist that's evocative of the trees and the nature from Zimbabwe, where she's from, right? Like we need to incorporate scent somehow into our performances. And yeah, I guess robots could do that. But at the end of the day, the robots, I haven't looked into whether or not people are programming robotic sense of smell. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure if that's even possible, because smell is associated with so many different memories of the past and images. And I don't think a robot could ever mimic those associations, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, you were giving them an idea, so.
Or I'm giving them an idea, right? Because Google and Facebook and YouTube, they're listening right now. So yeah, they'll probably steal my idea.
Right. But it's a cool idea. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe someday that, you know, Facebook will recognize the smell of us. It's very scary.
It's really scary. But anything is possible, I guess.
Anything is possible.
And this is why we go mad.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we go mad. And yeah, I mean, this I thought it was perfect title for me, at least, that I'm going mad.
Yes, I think we're all going mad in our own ways. But we have to work through the madness. And I think that was really cool about your concert. It's, for me, the whole thing was this musical and visual and artistic representation of you working through your madness.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, it was really fun to kind of play with the words first, and then music that's related in terms of that, the whole structure, that how you use this method to music. I thought it was really cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it was great to write this Mad Lib for you. I've always wanted to write a Mad Lib, so it was wonderful to use your commission to explore that part of something that I've always wanted to do. So, and I think it turned out really cool. The words that you selected were really perfect. They weren't too abstract, but they also lended themselves for some really ridiculous sentences. And and I think we realized how ridiculous they were, at least when you translated it to Korean and when I was translating it to Dutch, thinking, how would I say this in Dutch? Does it really make any sense?
So I was wondering that you actually made that sentence. You pre-made, you had this pre-made sentence. You were the author of the.
Exactly. Yeah. Of all of those things, of all of those sentences. Yeah. So I just like wrote a sentence in my head and then I took away one word and I said, well, this word is a noun. So give me a noun, or this word is a color. So you can just give me a color. Yeah.
So it's gonna be different by the performer. And I also wanted to ask you, I already know the sentences, and I also know the music now. But could I change the words, and could I change, or I should stick with what I have what I chose in the very beginning when I didn't know anything about what's gonna come out.
Well, because you are really the co-author of the text, I think you can change the words. But for other pianists, they're going to stick with the original words. But the other pianists can change the dynamics and the children's song reference and all of that. Because, yeah, the music is also a Mad Lib.
Right,
And
right.
that was also a first for me. I don't think I've come across any scores where the composer asks the pianist specifically to choose dynamics and stuff like that. Um, there are probably pieces like that out there because composers, we compose so many different things, and it's just impossible for us to know all of the music that has been composed. But I guaranteed I didn't steal this idea from anybody. I've never come across anybody doing something like that before. So the pianist can definitely choose all of the stuff that's in the score for them to choose, but the words should stay the same. I don't give the pianist permission to change the text.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always also wondered if I can show the score to the other pianists or people who think of performing this. Like I shouldn't. So
No, go ahead. Yeah, go
should
ahead.
I,
Yeah.
before? Okay, so I don't know. Can I share score here?
Yeah, sure.
uh,
So I wrote, of course, that if you're a pianist and you're going to play this piece, then you can't look at the music before filling in, but it's fine to share the score.
yeah. Hopefully, if you are audience, if you're planning to perform or interested in performing the space, don't look at it for this moment.
Exactly.
um, so yeah, um, cool.
Yes. Oh yeah, I put that blank page before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cat's interruption, that was also very cool. Um,
Yeah, so here are the performances. It's getting really dark here in the Netherlands. Let me turn on a light. I'll be
okay.
right back. Is that a little better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, good.
So yeah, so this was the medley part.
Exactly. The Mad Lib for the pianist.
Yeah. Um, so that was fun. I wrote down a few things here in other paper, not right here, but
Excellent.
and yay, here is the score.
Yes.
um,
Yeah, and I had to make sure I left space for the pianist to write things in.
oh, I see.
Yeah, so that was also a first for me to think about, like, how a pianist would write something into the score, and how to communicate what to write in the score. So that's why I have the numbers and then a little description of what to write in.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think I have seen a score like this before. At least,
Excellent.
um, cool. Yeah, I picked this pretty known children's song in Korea that I
Good.
used to sing when I was little. So, but the rhythm wasn't the way it was. I mean, it's much faster. I played much slower. So I wondered if anybody recognized. I haven't
Oh,
thought about it, but
yeah. maybe if you play this piece in South Korea, maybe somebody will recognize it. But I had the same situation. There's a piece of mine for cello and piano, and there's a viola piano version, there's a cello harp version. And I quote a child song that I think is rather popular. And some people said that they couldn't recognize it. And then I said, okay, well, just sing what you hear. And then if they sang it without listening to the piece, then they knew the song. But
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to play it also in other countries, and for sure in Korea I'll say all this sentences in Korean. So that's
yes.
interesting. Yeah, I don't know how, like, it doesn't make any sense. So
Yeah, do you think that that the audience might laugh when they hear some of the sentences?
they might, or I think first they will be very confused. They would be like,
Like,
"What are you really talking about?"
yeah, I think if I get a chance to play it myself here in the Netherlands and do it in Dutch, I'm also curious to hear what people will say. Like, does he know how to speak Dutch? I mean,
Uh, that would be, yeah. Also, this is first time that, of course, that my creation went into a composition. Although it's not exactly music, it's text. So yeah, I'm very proud of myself.
oh, good. Yeah, yeah, we should do this more often.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw my performance, and you were a performer, so probably you imagine, and when you compose also you imagine yourself performing this piece.
Sometimes, if it's a piece that I know that I would also be interested in performing, then I imagine myself performing it. But for instance, when I was writing the concerto for you, I just thought, no, I'm never going to perform this. This isn't my piece. So I said, I will write a very impossible piano part. So.
Well, but this one, I mean, I think this one, I just really want to see how you would deliver this piece,
Yeah.
and also if somebody else is performing, like, really curious to see.
Yeah, it's gonna change quite a bit, right? Because they'll select different dynamics than you and different children's songs and everything. It'll have a different pacing. It'll be with a different vocal quality as well, which is also interesting. I'm also curious to hear or to see actually how it will sound on a grand piano on a stage, you know, because that's also, it's a different feeling. It's so much more formal than just an upright piano in someone's house.
Right.
And I don't think I'll like it as much, to be honest, because when you commissioned this piece, the whole point was for this particular out of tune piano in your house. And a while ago, when I went to this new music festival in Cyprus, there was this beautiful lecture given about how composers write for specific spaces. And the lecturer, she mentioned how Haydn, for instance, wrote some of his symphonies for this outdoor space. And that's why he included trumpets and all of these different instruments, right? So that piece is honestly supposed to be performed outside only. But of course, orchestras play it all the time inside, and it just recontextualizes the piece, or it takes the piece outside of its original context. And I'm sure Haydn wouldn't mind it being played in Symphony Hall or whatnot, but knowing that the original context of this piece was for an outdoor setting, it just puts me in a completely different mindset to judge the piece or to experience the piece when I'm listening to it. So yeah, to hear this piece in a concert hall on a grand piano, or to experience it in that context, I think will be a little bit, I don't know, strange.
Yeah, I talk about that with Han, and Han also was wondering, and apparently Han gets all these questions about that, on the piece, that what if it's played in, in this concert hall, in more formal setting. So yeah, there's something I think I need to think about if when I bring this whole program to different places, when it's possible to perform in person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also, it made me think about, like how every concerts, or most of concerts, are happened in concert hall setting in the past, and that what's happening now, that when um we are unable to be in the concert hall. I mean, what else is out there other than that options? And historically, yes, of course, all this, Schubert's libs, that was for salon setting, and a lot of 19th century piano pieces, or including Chopin, were salon setting, and of course Mozart sonata was for home, really. So I think we lost that a lot, actually. I miss that, being in an intimate place, and perform, and have that, I don't know, that's more personal surrounding, personal feeling of performance.
It's true. In fact, many of those performance settings happened because we didn't have a radio and a CD player and a TV, right? So, in order to really experience music in the home, you either had to play an instrument yourself or invite your friends over to play instruments and sing. So, it was great, for instance, when Telemann made easier versions of his more difficult music for people to just be able to play at home. And that got his music to so many different households
Mhm.
without people in those households needing to practice for 80,000 hours just to be able to play their piece, right? And with Schoenberg, for instance, his whole home concerts were in this period of time where people were transitioning from playing lots of instruments at home to going out and listening to professional performances, and buying phonographs and stuff like that. So he was really on the brink, but he made all of these, reduced chamber orchestra or chamber ensemble versions of orchestral pieces and piano reductions and stuff like that, and did contribute to that type of intimate home practice. And unfortunately, he was kind of criticized for it because those were secretive performances, and you had to belong to some elite Schoenberg club, I guess, to be part of it. But at the end of the day, right, we are in our homes, and we can't invite the world into our homes, right? I guess we sort of can now because we have the internet, but even then, we should have the freedom, and the desire, I think, to invite our neighbors over if we have a piano and just say, hey, this is 5 people in a room. I want to play you some music. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. I mean, especially now, I think it is. Yeah. So, well, I will play the performance. I will replay the performance.
Excellent.
Okay. Have to find this window again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Should be here. Yes.
I never really talked to you also about the symbolism of the notes that I chose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because there's lots of A, right? There's lots of and A is the number 9. So if we start with C and C is 0, you go up to A and A is 9. So all of those 9s, for me, I was just imagining this number like 9,999 or 99,999 or 999,900. Those 999999999, right? It's this number that it just seems like it's forever and it's not gonna stop. And that's why I chose the pitch A for all of those. Yeah, because I just wanted to have this number 9. And 9 is also, it's a really nagging number, right? Because it's that number that's right before 10, and 10 is a really nice grounded number, and 9 is like you're almost at 9, almost there, right? So we're almost out of the pandemic, but 9 also is no in German. So the like the yeah, so there's just so many different symbols and meanings attached to the word or the sound of 9. And then A, well, at least A440 in music is this grounding pitch where everyone tunes to A440. So when you're also playing A, it's also kind of this call for other musicians to come and vibe with you in this same tuning. So that's what I was thinking by focusing so heavily on that pitch.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Whenever I play, it's like, oh, it's out of tune. Yay.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. Here it is.
Yay.
I live in a cave in my liver. My teal turtle gives me hope. When will I return to Bhutan and smell the magnolias and taste the seaweed soup? I will get an $18 fine. The president can't go. The president can't do much of anything because his mind is secretive. When will my scientist zoom again? When will the world's womb wash the way it used to? Should we return to the way things were?
Excellent job. I think I spotted something in your house that I didn't realize before. And let's see. Ah, of course. I think it's this. Yeah. It's pandemic. We need to practice those etudes.
That's great. Yeah.
Yes, pianists, we have, the same wavelength.
Yeah. Yeah, I was playing one of the Chopin right after your piece.
Oh, good.
Well, I think we can close this talk. It's about yeah. I think I don't think there's any question now. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Hopefully we can see each other in person someday. But yeah.
Yes, I need to come back to Tampa and give you a hug.
Yes. You have to.
All right. Well, lovely talking with you as always.
Yes. Okay. I mean, everybody, have a great Sunday and enjoy your lunch.
Yes.
So, okay, I think we can stop the streaming.